Howdy, howdy, howdy. I'm on my way to work and I want to make a quick video saying a few things. I don't think this is going to come out too well in terms of how I speak. I'm going to try to be as quick and to the point as I can and not beat around the bush too much. The country that I live in, known as America, known as the United States of America, is facing a lot of problems at this time. Economic problems, which will probably get worse. We're on the brink of war, in large part because we're instigating it, in large part because of things that we're doing, not what other people are doing. We're on the brink of military buildup, which is not a good idea. It's not what God wants. And the reason for our current issues has everything to do with us. I watch a lot of videos trying to understand our place in the world. After World War II, people said that there were two superpowers, Russia and the United States, and that we were, after that war, thrust into a conflict, a perpetual conflict known as the Cold War. Now, why we should be in conflict? There's no reason why we should compete, why we, engage in animosity rich communication or dialogue, but that was the case. And there was a time after the fall of the Soviet Union that the US was considered to be the sole superpower in the world. And by some estimates, some economic theorists, that continued until like the mid 2010s. So for about a 25-year period, we were the sole superpower. Now we are entering a world in which developing economies, formerly, countries known as third world countries, formerly, are strengthening and developing, and we've left the unipower moment, and especially the I forget what the term is now, but like the global south, that's the term, which has historically been in difficult circumstances, especially they're developing. What you would call this time, I'm not sure. In amongst all of this, we're also experiencing environmental collapse, and that's not just happening in America, but everywhere. Americans have fueled this collapse to a very large extent. After Nixon went into China and developed some trade deals in which we negotiated China to become like our supplier. We for a lot of cheap goods, we became a consumerist economy, and that ultimately led to ourselves focusing on like nowhere I guess I would say valueless industries like finance, speculation, servicing the rich, like high service industries, things like that. And we lost the knowledge to manufacture well. We became like an investment country. Like we invest in other companies and try to hold power through managing things from an ownership level. So we'll invest in companies in China or the developing world, and we'll try to hold stakes and hold resources in these places. And I think there's a lot of unethical things that happens with all of that. And basically we've lost our manufacturing capacity, and it's not coming back, at least not at this time, because we're spoiled rotten. And that's really the crux of what I want to say. Once we chose to become a consumerist economy, once we chose to stop working as hard as we were working, once we started leaving the farming sector and becoming starting to use these tools and technologies in farming that are very bad for the environment, we took a wrong turn. And now we're very spoiled with all our wealth and the access that we've had for so long to cheap goods. And when you think about money, it's just like, I could say things should be this way, and if I use my power and might and military authority, which I accumulated since the end of World War II and the buildup of the military, if I use that to domineer and plunder and start taking from people in the rest of the world, then I become pretty spoiled pretty quick. I become the rich guy. I become the pigs in the animal farm analogy, sucking the resources from the working poor of the world. And so that's what we have become in America. And by and large, we want to deny our current status, and we want to blame our government. We want to say that where people in elite positions are corrupt, instead of looking at ourselves individually and seeing how we spend our money and how we work, and where we spend our time, and what activities and industries we spend our time in, and instead of raising ethical questions about what we're doing and challenging ourselves, we would rather blame our elites. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat, independent, or Republican in the White House, or whoever's in the majority in the Congress, or whoever's in the judicial branch. We would rather blame them than look at our own ethical and moral problems individually, each of us in America individually. And so instead of dealing with our own problems and trying to change, what we're doing is we're striking with more violence and more unethical activity, more war. We're seeding war in the world at this time. And the blood is on our hands. So I hope that makes sense. There's a lot, more that I could say. I try to watch economic videos. I try to understand what they're saying about how there's like a dollar standard in the world, whatever that means. Like basically, countries use our currency. It's like the top currency, and what's that based on? It's not based on anything except it used to be based on gold, and now it's not just based purely on confidence in the American economy, and that confident or the American system of government. Basically, it's all based in confidence in the U.S. government, that government will not fall, and people hold treasury bonds, I believe, in the U.S. government, and the value of those bonds are purely based on confidence that the U.S. government will not be extinguished anytime soon. However, that confidence is waning, that confidence is going away, and people no longer experience the same, supposedly good feelings about the U.S. government. And so the economic system is changing as systems like the BRICS system is developing and other currencies are gaining a foothold. Did that make sense to you? I think the issues are much deeper than that. I don't think that explains it. In my experience, personally, honestly, I'll watch a video about that and I feel 20 times dumber coming away from one of those videos where they talk about, the value of the U.S. currency and devaluing or overvaluing or overprinting money and all that. Like, I come away not understanding it. And I don't think that I'm a dumb person. Like, I don't like this monetary system that we have. I think there's a deep lack of ethics with the whole shebang. I don't think God is happy with the monetary system that we've had. I've made a lot of videos talking about my perspective economically and how God's system is probably a gift economy system where you give with zero expectation of return. Every time you love someone, it comes from a place where you don't want something in return. You want to give something. And the thing about love is that it's powerful, and it makes others, want to give as well. However, they might not give, and you have no desire, no expectation that they return the gift. Now, that is an economic system that few people can comprehend or even imagine. At least I'm able to imagine it, so I feel, fortunate in that way. But when I talk to people about it, it's rare that people feel like I'm being sensible in what I'm saying. So that's kind of the state of affairs that we are encountering in the world today. But there you have it. That's about all I want to say. I think it's very dangerous for us to be xenophobic. I think that's the right word, where we become, or ethnophobic. Like, we say, oh, there's this state over here, whether it's Russia or China or a Middle East country. Those are usually or even Israel. Israel is a well-known American ally, and Israel is getting a lot of criticism at this time, and any hate-fueled criticism that we have of Israel is all wrong. God does not appreciate that. God, far be it for me to put words in God's mouth, but from what I know of God, God is a loving being, and God does not want us to hate any other living soul or ourselves. And any time that we have any hatred in our heart, if we want to be happy, which we may not want to be happy, we have to do our own due diligence to try to address those unloving feelings inside of us. But I see ourselves, blaming our elites in this country. I see ourselves being very xenophobic towards other countries, trying to justify the reasons that we have delineated for, attacking other countries, and they're always going to be wrong because war is always wrong. It is always unjustified. Using violence to solve a problem is always going to be the wrong solution. So you can start from there and then ask yourself, okay, what are the reasons? I think it's okay to be violent, but violence is wrong from God's perspective. So whatever reasons I have for conducting the violence I want to conduct, they must be wrong as well. You can start there. So yeah, I think we're really we're in extremely heavy denial at this time. Even myself, I notice an extreme lack of desire to fundamentally change some of the ways in which I live my life, and that's my responsibility, and I'm going to pay hell for it. I'm going to pay a lot for it until I finally decide to make some important changes in my life. My life is going to continue to be a rather hellish experience. And I would ask my country folk, I suppose, to look at their own lives and question some of their unethical behaviors. There is truth out there. There is, knowledge of the truth out there, especially with Jesus and Mary returning to the earth and presenting the divine truth teachings. We have a standard now. We can't say that we can be blind and ignorant to what the truth is about how to love. And so, yeah, I suggest we, each of us, take some initiative and at least look at, what Jesus and Mary are saying about what is God's way to love and who God is and how God is a loving being, and work from there. Thank you for watching. That's really all I have to say. Blessings to you.